Hey guys, in this video, we're going to be comparing this Kobalt 4-volt max quarter-inch cordless screwdriver to this Ryobi 4-volt cordless screwdriver. So this is the FVD01K. So they're vaguely equivalent, but they're a little bit different. So we're going to go over all the differences and how they stack up against each other. So remember to check the link in the description. I'm going to try to put a link to where you can pick up each of these, probably an Amazon link for each. Not sure offhand if they're both on Amazon, and probably, like, I actually picked this up from Home Depot and this from Lowe's directly. I'm gonna try to put those links in. I'll check and see which ones I can throw in there, but check the links in the description. Now, obviously, let's start out with the obvious stuff. They're both standard screwdrivers. They're a little bit different. I guess the color and size is the most obvious thing at first, but you know, let's start with the obvious standard features that everything is going to have. So obviously, you know, you get your and you know what, I should put a bit in here just so they look the same when I compare them. Even this is different. Even the collet is different. But okay, forward button, reverse button, standard stuff, right? Now they feel a little, before I even talk about the actual features, they feel different, right? Like this, you can hear that. It doesn't feel like it has a ton of power and precision, like a low-powered version of one of their, really lower-powered version of one of their drills, which is what you would kind of expect. Now this one, it feels like a more precision tool, and when you use it, you would think, okay, not a lot of power compared to this, but when you use this, you can feel it really doesn't have that much power. Realistically, they're about the same amount of torque, so they're vaguely equivalent in terms of power. Yeah, so there's that. They should be pretty close to the same in terms of actual power, but there are other differences. So first difference I'd like to point out is if you look at these, they both have LED lights. The Ryobi has 2 LED lights and the Kobalt has 4. So there's 2, and notice there's the delay. When I let go of it, it stays on for a little bit. And I need this to stop showing so I can do all right, there we go. And there you go. There is the Kobalt. And notice as soon as I let go, it stops. So if you like that, maybe it's good. It's less annoying or whatever. So now note the brightness on that. Probably not that different. I think this one's a little brighter, if anything. I don't know. This one's more even. I don't know. But I wouldn't see this as being an advantage. They're both all right. The biggest difference is not how much light they have, but it's how this one stays on. This is kind of convenient, maybe a little annoying, but kind of convenient. So let's say if you want to screw something in, you want to see it before you screw it in. Like with this one, you could turn the light on if you're in a dark space. As soon as you let go, you can't see to stick it in. Like, you want to put it in while it's not moving and then turn it on. So it's not as useful. This is a little bit more practical in that sense. You push this button to turn the light. Sure, it spins a little bit. You let go. The light's on for a little bit. You can align up the bit and then start spinning. Now that becomes a non-issue if you have a separate work light or a flashlight, then who cares, right? But it's just a difference we can point out. Now they each have a 4-volt internal battery, which should be vaguely equivalent. Now the charging is going to be a little bit different. So this guy, they're both USB, but this is USB-C, which is more modern, but it doesn't matter for charging. It shouldn't matter much. I'm not sure which one is faster off the top of my head, but see, this one has a little rubber thing. This one doesn't. So this one is micro USB. It's older, and this USB-C is newer, but we're not talking about transferring data or anything. So how much does that really matter? I don't know. Now, let me show you the cable for this guy. So USB-C would plug right in here, right? So that's USB-C, and the other end is USB-A. You would plug that into any regular USB port. That you should have plenty of things with that. It does not come with a wall adapter to plug into your wall socket, but neither of these comes with a wall adapter. So USB-C right there, and this one, which you can plug in either way. You can plug it in like this, flip it like that, still plug it in either way. A little more convenient, right? Not a big deal. Now, You have your micro USB here. Notice it matters which direction you plug it in. You got to plug it in like that. You can't plug it in upside down. The other end of this cable, same thing, regular USB-A. You can plug them both into any regular USB plug that you might want to. So anyways, I'm going to get these power cables out of here. And all right, what do we want to go over next? So, all right, USB charging. Now, the included screwdriver bits. So there's a big difference here. So this guy comes with, it comes with, now this just pulls right out. It comes with Phillips head, and it comes with slotted, and that's it. It comes with one of each of these. It's pretty standard, just starter bits that you would expect to come with something like this. And if you need a huge selection of other bits, get a separate kit, right? Which is what I already have. So it's fine that it has these. And even if it didn't have these, it would also be fine. But you can't buy this and not have a bit. And you have to have, this is like the minimum that you should expect to come with any tool like this. You should expect one of each, right? And that's what they give you, which is fine. And that's totally fine. I like how these are a little bit longer. Now, let's take a look at the Kobalt tool. So for Kobalt, you have, and we're going to talk about the size and ergonomics in a bit, but for Kobalt, you have a bunch of Phillips head in 2 different sizes, multiple of each size. And anyways, you have these square, you have these Robertson, so Robertson square socket, and you have hex here. So 2 S0, S1 for square Robertson, and two sizes for hex. You have the 5/64ths and 3/32. So you got those. Then you also, in addition to all of that, you have a bunch of different sizes of Torx, T6 up through T10, and then slotted 1/8 inch all the way up to 7/32. And one of them is missing here. That's what I must have left it on my other desk. But anyways, it comes with another slotted one here. This isn't missing. So both this and this has one of the bits taken out. All right. So anyways, next thing to check, we have so the Kobalt tool comes with this extender. It's a magnetic bit holder, and you can pop this out and pop this in right here. And this is probably a good time to talk about the collets on these. So you can just pop this in here. Now notice you can pop this right out. It's a little bit tight. It stays in there nice and securely. It's magnetic, but you can pull it out, right? So it's easy to pull out like that. Now this stays locked in place until you pull back on this, and then you can unlock it, right? So to push this in here, you have to pull back on it and push it in. It's a little bit tedious, but it stays locked in nice and secure. Same behavior with this thing, right? You could kind of put it in, but it's going to fall out. If you really want to put it in, you have to pull back on this, push it in, and it goes pretty far in there. It gets kind of short, which is not a big deal since you have that thing. But if you want to pull this out, you got to pull back on it to unlock it and pull it out. That is the collet on the Kobalt screwdriver. Now for Ryobi, this is it's a bit different. There's no there's nothing that you can see. There's a little thing here to lock in place, but it doesn't exactly lock that way. I'm not sure what the mechanism inside is, but you can pull on it. It'll come out just by pulling on it. I don't believe it's supposed to be magnetic. It just pulls right out, but when you put it in, it's not like it's going to fall out at all. It's more than secure enough for a screwdriver. I actually kind of like this a little bit better than this guy right here. So I think these are more balanced. I think these bits are balanced, although you could switch these. Like you could put this bit in here, right? It really doesn't matter. You could buy a whole separate thing of bits too, which you should probably have anyways. But for what comes with the tool, yeah, I like the length of these better. These are way too short, I think, and I don't think there's any real reason for them to be that way. But you know, and you don't always want to have to use the extender or carry it with you. You can, whatever. In any case, it's not a big deal either way for either of those. So essentially, just different collets, the same collet size, both quarter inch hex collets on both of these, and that is in metric. That's going to be 6.35 millimeters. This one's a quick release. It locks in place, but has a quick release. This one is even quicker release because it just pops in and out. If you want the even quicker release without the locking on this, if you want magnetic, you got that thing. So that's the difference there. Now, one thing I'd like to, so these are both good for tight spaces. I guess the one thing you could say is this is a little longer, but you could just get a longer bit on this. But when I first looked at these, like the pictures, this one looks a little bit more compact. This one looks fat around the edge. But if you look at them side by side, I think they're pretty close. The end of this only looks, I'm not going to measure it, but it's almost exactly the same thing. If this is a little bit bigger, it's by almost nothing. But it's like an illusion. See, since it's so thin here, it looks much fatter on this end, but and this looks slimmer overall just because it's a uniform thickness, but realistically, I think this is a little more compact, and I think this is more ergonomic. And you know, if you hold this looks pretty neat. I love the way it looks, but realistically, this is like holding a bar, like a thick plastic bar. This is like perfectly, like this fits perfectly into your hand. If you wanted to be holding something for an extended period of time, this is it. And the buttons are right there, perfectly placed for your thumb. This is great. This fits perfectly. You wouldn't want this to be more slim unless you had to have something to fit into like a small pack, but this is about the perfect size to hold on to. This one, not perfect size, so it's a little bit bigger than you might like. It's not a big deal. I wouldn't use that as a, you know, I wouldn't decide to buy it based on that, but this is a little bit more bulky and not like the perfect, it still doesn't, it's not bad to grip this, but it's a little bit, it's not like it's not the perfect fit for this, so that you get a tiny bit of an advantage with this guy. Now, obviously, both cordless, both great for fitting in compact spaces where you might not be able to fit a full-size drill or impact driver or something like that. Obviously, they're both going to have way less, like way less torque than an impact driver or a real drill. So, you know, if you want more power, both of these are the wrong option. They're both going to have their limitations. You're going to have screws and bolts that are just not going to be, they're going to be too hard to turn. And you're going to see that in some of the demo footage. There are just some screws that you're going to have to turn once they turn past a certain point, they're going to stop and they won't turn anymore. And you'll have to manually turn this with your hand, which it turns into a bulky, manual screwdriver, which is, you know, it's not optimal. Now, in any case, for RPM, the Ryobi goes up to 350 RPM, whereas the Kobalt goes up to 280 RPM. Now, what else? 13 pounds. So the Kobalt is 13 inch-pounds max torque, according to the manual. Now, the Ryobi ranges from 10 to 15 inch-pounds of torque, according to some other person's video. I was watching someone else's video where they actually had a tool to measure the torque, and they measured it going forward and reverse, and it was slightly different. It is a little bit less torque going in reverse than it is going in forward, and each time they measured, it was somewhere between 10 to 15 pounds of torque, and I imagine the Kobalt is pretty close to the same thing. And I don't think they mentioned the torque in the documentation for this. I don't think. What else? So the weight for the Ryobi is 235 grams versus, okay, so this guy was 0.22 kilograms. So it's pretty close. It was measured in kilograms rather than grams. You can convert that in your head pretty quick, but it's off by like 0.01 kilograms, right? They're almost the same weight, right? These are basically the same thing. Now, what else? So the charging light, it blinks. So they each have a light here. So there's a light on this guy and a light on this guy. When you plug them in and they're charging, it will blink. When they're done charging, it stops blinking. Now, both of these cannot be used while they're plugged in. So even if you had an extension cord and plug these in with your USB cable to an adapter on the extension cord, you still can't use them when they're plugged in. The batteries are not removable, so you can't just swap it out for another battery, charge one battery while you use the other. You can't do that, and you can't use them while they're plugged in. So that's a limitation to the tool. There are some brands that do have swappable batteries, like the DeWalt. I don't have that right now. I may buy that for a future video and for some future testing. I know the DeWalt is bulkier than either of these. It's much bulkier than this one even, and it is, in terms of inline screwdrivers, but it has a swappable battery. Now, I know off the top of my head, the Ryobi does make a folding screwdriver that's like this. It looks like it's probably a little bit more powerful, and it's a screwdriver, not a drill. This is one of two options that Ryobi has available right now that I know of. So this isn't the only one. This is just the inline screwdriver, which is the equivalent to this, an inline screwdriver. So yeah, neither of them you can use while they're charging. So that is, there's just one disadvantage to these. But for what you should expect from a screwdriver like this, that should not be a big deal if you're using them that much. You really should be getting like a drill or an impact driver or something. Now, in terms of actual feel, like this one feels more like a precision tool, just the feel that I get while it's on. You can hear that sound. It feels a little bit more precision. This is more like a clunkier feeling tool. And I know they have about the same power. When you use this one and if you look at this, it's so bulky, you feel like it should have more actual power, and this should have more precision. I think this is more precision. They're about the same power though. This feels like when you hold on to this and you feel it turning, just something about the vibrations feels like it's a more high precision tool. This one, not so much. And it might just be like the weight and the build quality. This is more compact and fused together to the parts inside. Maybe just the way it vibrates. This is more, I don't know. So one way or another, this feels more precision. They both have about the same power. This is smaller, more compact, easier to grip. Ultimately, honestly, I think this is a better, I think this is the better tool. I don't know if that's the right choice to make. It's a real tough call. They're both pretty cool. This is pretty cool, and I have a lot of Ryobi stuff. I know it's not the best brand. I know they're like more premium or like professional brands like DeWalt or Milwaukee, Makita, stuff like that. For a screwdriver like this, I don't know that it matters that much. I have a lot of Ryobi stuff, and I like them as a brand, but I feel like this is the better tool overall. I don't have anything from Kobalt yet. I may need to pick some up and test them out to compare them against the many Ryobi tools that I have that I've already reviewed so far, and I'm going to be reviewing some more. So to mention, if I haven't mentioned this yet, this is basically you could think of this as the Home Depot in-house brand, and this is basically the Lowe's in-house brand. So competing brands, but the stores that typically carry these are also competitors. Like Lowe's is basically the same thing. I think of it as being vaguely equivalent to Home Depot. So there's Home Depot's brand and Lowe's brand of tool. They're in-house brands. I believe I think Lowe's actually purchased this company, and I think Home Depot just has like an exclusive deal with Ryobi, but haven't purchased them at least yet. So there you go. Now remember to check the link in the description for where you can pick these tools up. I'm going to try to put the most appropriate link in there, whether it be Amazon, Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever. Check the link in the description for where you can pick these up. And I'm going to try to put a related video there should be a related video popping up on screen somewhere any minute now. It might be there already. I'm not sure about the timing, but you might want to check that video out. And also, remember to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, because we're going to be covering, a lot of great tool content. We have a lot more tools we're going to be covering. We've covered a lot so far. You might want to check out our existing videos. We have a lot more to come. We're doing like hammer drills, impact drivers, regular drills, all sorts of great content. We're probably going to be reviewing more screwdrivers like these. We're going to be covering and comparing and testing a lot of tools. You're not going to want to miss out. So if you like tools, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't actually miss out on anything we've done. If you found this video useful or interesting, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you've tried either of these, or if you have a preference between Ryobi and Kobalt, or maybe you prefer a completely different brand altogether, leave a comment down below letting everybody know which one you think is the best. We want to hear from you. But that is about it for today. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on that next video.